Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today we're going to talk about, does tape help you protect your glass during explosion, wind, that kind of stuff like a storm, and does it help? But before we go into answer that, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link to my book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch. If you're interested, take a look to the link in the description. Alright, so I recently have been watching some videos where they talked about the Polish survival manual that they give to civilians, and one of those things caught my eye, and that was one of the advice was to put tape on their glass windows. Excuse me. So it made me think: does this really work? Well, let's see what the idea behind this. The idea is if you put tape in across like pattern, the idea is if the glass breaks, it will or it gets some of those small cracks, that it will be held together instead of falling on the ground or flying towards you. But there are several nuances with this that you need to take in account. In the account that I read about in this Polish manual, it's more in case of war, like an explosion. And yet again, there is no black and white answer in this. It depends all on the situation, and that's something that you cannot foresee. You can put it, on your window during if there are explosions in case of war, but like I said, it depends. If the blast is from far away and it cracks up your windows, then yes, it could help, because it can keep the windows a little bit together if they're starting to crack, instead of falling on the ground. You run through the house, you're falling, you're taking cover, like on the ground, you're taking cover from the glass, and that way the glass will be not on the ground and you will not cut your arms, your legs, and perhaps your feet if you don't wear any shoes. That could be minimize the damage. But if the explosion is from close and the blast is much harder in a velocity, faster, then it really doesn't matter, I would say. Because either the glass will shatter anyway because it's so close and it's not big of a difference, or what they say is it can keep the glass together if you really tape it good. But then you got perhaps the problem, instead of all these small shards flying around at you because of the blast, they are broken. Now you got bigger pieces of glass clogged together, stuck to this tape, flying at you in bigger shards. So yeah, that is the question. Do you want to be pelleted by thousands of small shards of glass, or do you want to be sliced open by bigger pieces of glass and pelleted with smaller pieces of glass at the same time? So yeah, there is not much of an upside or a positive or an advantage in this, but there are other situations. I would say, put it on your windows. They didn't done it in World War II, for example, a lot. And yeah, like I said, the upsides perhaps is there is less charge on the ground where you can cut yourself. But if there is an explosion, you will be wary anyway. So it's, yeah, if it makes you feel good, do it. But in my opinion, there is not much big of a difference. There are also it's also been used during storms. If you look at hurricane season in America, for example, there are a lot of buildings, people's homes, companies that will, before the storm, will tape off their window to prevent for certain things. First of all, with wind, the biggest cause of damage for glass by wind is flying debris. So there's a storm, hurricane, hard of wind, and it took one of those, even a small debris with high speed, flies against your window, and perhaps the cracks can keep it together. But if the storm, it's yet again with the bomb blast. If it's far away the wind and less severe, yeah, there is perhaps some minimalizing damage. If it's close by, it's fucked anyway. So there is a piece of luck that is involved here. And there are also some other factors that you need to take into account. What kind of glass do you have? Is it tempered glass? Because if it's tempered glass and there is one tick getting through, then the whole thing shatters in a million smaller pieces. So then it really doesn't matter if there is tape on the glass or not. If it's just regular glass, it's the same thing like I said before. Depends also if it's not tempered glass and it's thick glass, perhaps very small chance. It also depends where the cracks is, where the debris is flying. Yeah, the glass is fucked anyway, so perhaps a small thing going on there. But if it's very thin glass, yeah, then it can hold it a little bit together. But yet again, depends how close the source of the force coming from, whether it's a blast, whether it's the wind. And also another thing is, if it's looting, I would say it also doesn't matter, because yeah, if a person wants to damage your glass, whether it's by throwing something as in vandalism or breaking it to get into your house, the glass will not prevent it. So yeah, in my opinion, taping off glass, whether it's in like an X shape or only a how do you say this, a cross shape, there are minimalistic benefits from it. So I would say don't bother with it. Don't bother with it. Just make sure that if you are afraid that something like this will happen, the biggest advice I can give you is have something to replace it. In the meantime, until you get a professional or perhaps the right glass size to repair it. So we're talking about pieces of wood. I would say plywood. If you think, oh, there's a storm coming, or there's a risk for a blast from bombs, I would say get one plywood for each window to board it up if the glass should be broken by the disaster, I would say. So that's the first thing that you can do to board it up, because we all know the, how do you say this, the effect, the broken glass effect, ironically called, is if you got a broken glass, then other people will either break it further, whether they are criminal or even not with criminal, because they think, oh, it's broken anyway, so what does it matter if I do something to it? Or people who see a broken glass and they think, ah, that's a way I can get in, and there is nobody has repaired it, and that's the broken glass effect. I would say look it up. It's a very interesting phenomenon, and yeah, the thing I want to also talk about is if you're going to use tape as a way to protect for your window, one of the best things I would say is during a chemical attack, use the tape instead of in the middle. Use it on the sides where there are perhaps some cracks. Perhaps it's not fully glued shut off, or there are some crisps or creaks. Then tape over that, so the chemical disaster or chemical weapon don't easily get in through that way. So that's perhaps a better use of tape on glass than around glass in this case, instead of doing this. So yeah, there is, it's just like I said, it's just nuance, it's just a matter of luck. If there is something that's like this could happen, take some preventive measurements. The same plywood that I talked about helping the glass, how do you say this, if the glass should be broken, the same thing can be used actually to prevent it by putting plywood in front of the glass, so no debris can break inside of it, or you can stop the blast wave from reaching the glass by putting a layer of plywood with a little amount of space so that it can move a little bit. So that's perhaps a better use, either preventive and for in case it happens. You can perhaps even use the same plywood. So I hope this video made you think about these kind of steps if you live in these kind of prone areas. And I would say, if you got any more tips, if you ever encountered something like this, or if you perhaps have a better tip than doing it like this. I know that it's just done very quickly. Normally you would do it all the way from side to side and perhaps even around, but this is just for example, and I don't want to use too much tape for this. So if you got experience with this, let me know in the comments if there are better ways or perhaps some hacks, tricks that you can do. Yeah, like a couple of good stuff, man. See you in the next video. Cheers!